Then if somebody's saying 5%, you say 95%. If somebody's saying you're too old, you say my body is young and vibrant. Somebody's saying you can't do it, you say I can. And I have this rebellious streak. When people tell me I can't do it, something, I usually manage to do it. It's like if you want to inspire me, don't tell me, like, tell me I can't do something.
2, 1, 0.
Hello and welcome to Stellar Life Podcast. I'm not your host, but I will be for this episode.
Yet again.
Yes, this is Orion Talmay's podcast, but I'm her husband, Stephan Spencer, and I will be interviewing Orion for this episode. Orion is a hypnotherapist, transformational coach, host of the Stellar Life Podcast, and an amazing soul who has transformed lots of people, and a beautiful soulmate to me, and a beautiful and amazing mother to our son. So I would love to make this a free-form conversation. I'm not sure what we're going to go into, but I think it's going to all be perfect, and we're going to just let it flow.
Yeah, let it flow. Well, thank you for the beautiful introduction. I really appreciate it. And I would like to introduce you to my amazing husband. He is a 3-time author. He wrote the book, The Art of SEO. It's a textbook about search engine optimization. They teach it in your universities. He wrote Google Power Search. And what was the third one?
Social e-commerce.
Social e-commerce, yes. He's also very spiritual, and he's very connected and very kind. Just super glad that you're my husband. I love you very much.
I love you too so much.
Yeah, it was a long journey for me to find this one. to attract it, not find it. It was all like a miracle from God.
Yes, and it was destiny too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How does that work? How do you end up with something that just seems to defy all odds, is miraculous and extraordinary, but also is destiny or fate?
The quote that comes to mind is a Tony Robbins quote, and it says, "Jump in and it will appear." I feel like throughout my life, I did that. I against all odds, I just went places and did things that are not logical, and they were driven by, I guess, intuition, inspiration, and
Faith.
That everything's going to work out.
Yeah. Because everything is always for our highest good, for the best.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Rabbi Gamzu, what is it? Rabbi
Ish
Gamzu said, this too is for the good. He lived hundreds and hundreds of years ago and went through real trials and tribulations, and yet he saw everything as good.
Yeah, and it's also the idea that sometimes things that look good are not what you really need, and sometimes things that look really bad are exactly what you need. But it takes you time to look back and see, oh, wow, that was a gift, and this was for my best. So everything, what Ish Gamzu says is this too is for the best. Everything's for the best. If something bad happens, it's for the best. Something good happens, for the best. You never know.
Yeah. And if you go off the rails, go off-road and do something with your free will that was really against God's plan, you're allowed to do that, but also then everything course corrects at that point to allow you to experience everything for the best from that point forward.
Mm-hmm. Explain.
Oh, it's like this intricate machine that all the different levers, dials, and settings have been reconfigured so that you will get the most out of every experience, and you will get every experience to be the best experience you could possibly get, even though you did something that you're not proud of.
Yeah. But at any point, we have the freedom of choice.
Yeah.
We can choose life, or we can choose the lesser thing. But we are responsible for our choices, and we are given that choice. And when we made a wrong choice, we should own it. I mean, you don't have to own it, but if you don't own it, you're in the place of a victim, and then you can't move forward in your life and everything is done to you. But the moment you own your mistake or everything that's happening to you, and you say, okay, that's my life right now, take full ownership, from that point on, you can move and build something more beautiful and stronger.
Mm. Yeah. So what happens when you don't take ownership?
Then you're a victim, and you go and you tell everybody why your life sucks, and you connect to life is sucks frequency, and life is sucks frequency brings more life is sucks frequency, and your life sucks. That's it.
Yeah. So you get what you focus on.
Yes.
Another quote I heard from Tony Robbins is where attention goes, energy flows.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about adversity as a gift, as a blessing, and maybe you could share some moments of adversity that you went through and how they were blessings after the fact. They might have been revealed to you. Maybe they still haven't been revealed to you as blessings, but maybe share some lessons or insights that you might have gotten from some of your biggest challenges.
Well, one of my challenges was to have our baby, and that was like doctors gave me 5% chance to conceive, and I learned a lot about manifestation from that experience. One of the things is not to listen to your environment and not to listen to your naysayers. I mean, doctors will be doctors. They will say what they say based on science, or based on what they are taught, or based on them not wanting to disappoint you, or give false claims. And then your brain is the strongest pharmaceutical, and also your connection with God is the most important thing, because if God made you, you can change everything in your life. Um, so nothing against doctors. Doctors helped me a lot in this process of conceiving my baby, and yet I didn't listen to the 5% statistics. In my mind, it was 95%. This was like I switched it. I switched the picture in my mind, because if I would focus on the 5%, nothing would have happened.
Yeah.
And
But it wasn't just that you had a 5% chance, and according to the doctor, and that the chances from just a pure 3D perspective looked pretty grim. It was also you had a great deal of adversity as you were going through that. You had your brain hijacked by hormones that were being pumped into
yeah, it
you.
was difficult. It was difficult because we did IVF, and so all these hormones that I was injected with were super like overwhelming, and it drove me nuts. And more than that, being very, very hormonal, and also being really, really sick most of my pregnancy, and being so afraid to not make it through that I didn't tell anyone. So I had a very lonely pregnancy. I only told people when I was 9 months, because I was so afraid that, like, if I'll tell anybody, or hear people doubting me, or looking like, I don't know, people's energies will affect me and I won't be able to make it. So only few people knew about it, and only the people that saw me actually with a big belly knew about it. I'm like, oh, surprised! 9 months, yeah, hi. But it was dealing with a lot. It was lot of loneliness, a lot of sickness, and throughout all that, still the faith and the belief, and just being grateful that I was able to conceive, and being grateful for everything that's going on. And I did have like maybe a couple of months of grace where I really loved being pregnant, and I felt really beautiful and sexy, and it felt great. But most of the pregnancy was very tough.
Yeah, you were sick a lot. You
Yeah.
had to rest a lot,
Yeah, and
and
even the birth story, which I don't want to get into, was very difficult. And after that, I don't want to get into that. I mean, the fact that you manifest something doesn't mean it's not gonna be hard. Sometimes things are hard, but everything I went through was, I'll do it again in a heartbeat, because the gift that I got, which is our son, is the most beautiful gift of all.
Mhm.
And I'm very grateful. And I'm not saying that women that didn't conceive didn't manifest correctly. Maybe they have a different plan from the creator. But in many of the cases, if you don't give up, you'll be able to get it. And that means like holding a strong mental image in your mind and just believing that. And if somebody's saying 5%, you say 95%. If somebody's saying you're too old, you say my body is young and vibrant. Somebody's saying you can't do it, you say I can. And I have this rebellious streak. When people tell me I can't do it, something, I usually manage to do it. It's like if you want to inspire me, don't tell me, like, tell me I can't do something.
Yeah. Another thing too that you, another reason why you didn't share until the last minute the pregnancy with people was that quote from Judaism that I love so much about blessing that is hidden from the eye. So what? How does that go again?
Yeah, I mean, it's not everyone's belief, but in my culture, some of us tend to believe that what's hidden from the eye have more blessing. You still see lots of celebrities like, oh, I'm three week pregnant, let me tell the world. For me, it was like, it was so special and I cherished it so much. And it was so vulnerable and felt like I was holding on a little thread that I didn't want to share it with everybody. From that aspect too, that I didn't want to have people's energy going into the field or the baby's field or people thinking about us, or even like envy energy is not good for anyone. So I wanted to keep it hidden.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about that. Let's expound on what envy or jealousy energy is, and why it's dangerous.
Because we have like, we are energetic beings and we receive energies, and if an energy is negative and we don't have energetic boundaries, it can affect our field or even our health. And even a loved one who doesn't mean to harm you but have some kind of a maybe envious energy toward you, that can affect you in not a good way. So sometimes when you, so I see like there's two school of thought. There is somebody say, oh, shout your dreams, scream your dreams, share it with the world, and then everybody's gonna help you. And somebody says, like me, like, actually, what's hidden from the eye has blessing, and maybe there is a middle way where you can share, but you share with the right people. It's very important to share your dreams with the right people. So there were a few people in my life. I didn't live in isolation. There were a few people in my life and family, close family members, that knew exactly what's going on with me and what I'm going through. But I didn't shout it out of the rooftops. If I go back, I might look for a little more support because pregnancy is hard. But I would still conceal it. I would not reveal it. Even with a new endeavor, like I would not really share a new endeavor until maybe 70% is in motion. But that's just me. It doesn't mean this is the truth. Some people claim that the moment you have an idea, you have to shout it out. So people that can come and help you on your way and be there for you. And maybe that's the right thing. I don't know. You choose for yourself. I'm just sharing my feeling.
Yeah, but I think there's something to that. That what is hidden from the eye retains more blessing, as in you conceal that you've got some amazing thing cooking that God has gifted you with, and so um, you're not premature in revealing it and not attracting that attention, negative attention in the form of jealousy or envy, which some refer to as evil eye,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't need that spiky energy of people wishing that they had what you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're always gonna get this from people, no matter where you are. You're always better than somebody else. So there's plenty of this energy, and it doesn't mean that it can hurt you or affect you badly. It can if you really put a lot of focus on it. And yet, for me, I guess with like new project and things that are in the making, I only share it with the right people.
Mm-hmm. And you
Yeah,
rely on your intuition to guide you on
and with
who it's right for and who it's not right for and
right.
when.
I used to be more of an open book. Everybody knew a lot about a lot, but now I'm sharing things. It might look like I'm an open book, but there's a lot of things I'm not sharing. um, I choose what information to share because there is always, to everything we share, there's always an agenda. But I think in the past it was just like, oh, let me be genuine. So genuine meant sharing my life, every aspect of my life. But you can be genuine and yet keep the things that you need to keep for yourself
Private.
private.
Yeah.
Privacy is important.
Yeah, it's just it's another aspect of modesty, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, because if you're oversharing all the blessings that you have,
Yeah.
then people are envious of that. Some are, and
Mm-hmm.
then that negative energy flows to you.
Right.
So if you're modest and unassuming and humble and not trying to outshine everybody, but know that we're all sparks of God, we're all equally important, then you see, let's say, a homeless person in the same light as a celebrity that you've been wanting to meet for decades. They're all just sparks of God, aspects of God, cells of source.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and if I see Gal Gadot or a homeless person, I would be more excited to see Gal Gadot. But I understand what you're saying, and I've always been like that. That no matter who I'm dealing with, whatever they're doing, if somebody that is, I don't know, homeless on the street, or like, I always see people as people. I always smile to them. I always look at their soul. Um, Most of the time, I try not to judge. Sometimes it's hard, but I think I'm doing a pretty good job with, I don't know, it's just something that I am. It's not something I learned to do, to really see people and people as people and respect them for who they are.
and,
Uh,
and something too that I really appreciate and admire in you is that there are people who look really rough on the surface, whether it's a homeless person or somebody that's just seeming to be a in a lower class in society or whatever. You can see through the surface levels, the veneer, and
mhm.
see their soul, and treat them with loving kindness, even though they might look really rough around the edges. And there's certain people that you would have me stop and give money to that were homeless or just walking down the street, seemingly not well off, and give them money because you just had a feeling of a sense of them.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you have to give money to everyone you see in the street. You have to um, put judgment on it,
Discernment.
discernment. If you feel like this is something's wrong here, or this person might be dangerous to you, then don't open the window of the car. I mean, there were many times where I did not open the window of the car,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Intuition is really important to
yes.
follow that,
Mm.
and not um, just dismiss
Hmm.
that gut feeling or that sense, that sixth sense you have.
Hmm. And I want to get back to modesty. Sometimes modesty can be a disguise to a spiritual bypassing or playing small.
Mm. How so?
How so? Like, oh, I'm so modest. I'm not doing those things, or I'm not advancing in life because I don't want to be out there. I'm too modest, or I'm so spiritual that I'm not gonna even like share what happened to me because I'm so modest. I know modesty, it can be tricky. I understand you have to be modest, but you don't want to, like, you always have to find the middle way, the golden way. You don't want to be over arrogant. You don't want to be over modest. I think there is pros and cons for both. I think you just find what works for you and what feels genuine to you.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a difference between modesty and hiding. If somebody's hiding because they don't want to face potential rejection or being disliked or having haters or naysayers out there,
Hmm.
that's different than modesty. That's not modesty. That's hiding.
What's modesty for you?
Modesty for me is just not over showing your blessings, because that's for you and the creator to know about, and selective few. The world doesn't need to know about your $26 million home or whatever, if you ever had one. It's like, well,
One
why?
day.
Why rub it in people's faces? But that's a separate thing from hiding because you're afraid of getting polarization
Mm.
or people being unkind to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would be a good formula for our listener or viewer to use to tap in more to that intuition, that inner knowing, uh, that sixth sense, or what in Judaism is referred to as Ruach HaKodesh, or the Holy
Mm.
Spirit. Like when you get that inspiration to stop and give a homeless person money out of the blue, or to whatever that, and it was completely out of your way to do so, but you just feel guided to do so. How does somebody get more of those insights and that guidance?
I think the first step is to learn how to connect to your body and your sensations. If you're very heady and you don't have a connection to your body, you can try exercising that connection, meaning, what am I feeling right now? Where's the feeling in my body? What is this situation causing me? How does the body never lies. Somebody approaches you and somehow you walk back, but you feel like you need to talk to them. If your body went back, then the body knows. There is a subconscious understanding that something about the energy field of that person is not good for you. So look for the little signs. I even have an exercise, and you can practice that, where you ask questions and you either sway right to left or back and forward. For me, it's like a yes is forward and a no is backward. Some people do right and left. And you just throughout the day practice not big questions, little questions. Is like, should I eat this thing right now? And then the body goes yes or no. And then your mind, your mind is craving it, but maybe your body is like, not for you, not for now. So if you practice those little practices throughout the day, and even physically stretch, connect to your body. What is the sensations in my hips, in my ankles, in the small of my back? What's going on? And the more you are connected to your body, the more you're going to be connected to your intuition, and the more you practice connection to your intuition, the more you will hear the right answers.
Mm. Yeah. And also when you are, let's say, craving something, your body is craving it, or your mind is craving it, whatever, but it's not, it's not healthy. It's not something that your body needs. It's like sugar or whatever. How do you uh, get like behind the scenes of what is really happening. Like, how do you know what the lack or the uncomfortable feeling is, the emotion that's actually driving you to want the sugar?
You you can go with what's going on and you're just going to eat that sugary thing that you want, or you can stop and it's intentional. If you want to live an intentional life and say, okay, now I want to be not taking sugar anymore, then you practice. Every time you want to eat sugar, you're like, what is this feeling? What is this void? And you'll get the answers. The more you do it, the more you practice, the more you connect with yourself, the more you're going to get the answers. And when you get the answers, even if you got the answer, it's still a choice. You still have free will. It's a choice. It's intention plus choice.
Yeah. And when you get that information, that guidance, what do you do with it? Do you write it down in a journal? Do you just try and remember it?
Depends on where I am and what I feel like doing.
Yeah. But you do write, you journal a lot.
Yeah, I journal. I journal, not every day. I do journal, especially when something really significant happened or something difficult happened. Sometimes I have to put everything in writing in order for me to process. Where I cannot, if I just struggle with my ongoing thoughts in and out, in and out, in and out, I won't get clarity. But if I take the time to write it down, I it's easier for me to process it and to understand more, and through the writing answers come as well.
Yeah. And then you can see the blessing in it. Whereas maybe while you were experiencing that situation, you didn't.
Maybe not.
Hmm.
Maybe later.
Yeah.
Sometimes I know the blessings and sometimes I don't, and
Yeah.
it's totally fine. I don't need to know everything, but I need to process my emotions.
Yeah. And so do you refer back to the stuff that you journal after the fact, or once it's out on paper or on a like on a remarkable tablet? Is that it? You don't need to look at it ever again?
If I feel called to, I go back.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm like, this one day I just felt like going through my notes, and I sat for an hour. I have this note app on my computer and my phone. They're synced together. Um, and it just felt like going through all my notes years back, and it was amazing. I found a lot of great information actually. It's always good to have something
Yeah.
to refer back to.
And there again, you're using your intuition to guide you on what to do next, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're following it, because if you ignore that intuition, then you get less of it. But if
Mm-hmm.
you pay attention and you take action on the intuition that you're receiving, then you get more of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would be let's say a process or some sort of exercise for someone who's maybe having some family conflict or some conflicts at work, or just conflicts with people? Could be strangers, but things that they're not really processing well or
Mm-hmm.
handling well. What would be some frameworks or exercises for them to utilize?
And so many. I think the first thing is to really put things down, like pen and paper is really good. It really helps you release stuff. It's like talking to a psychologist. I mean, sometimes you talk to a psychologist and they just nod. So instead of somebody nodding, you have the pen and paper. So you just let go, like just like blah, everything's on the page without even stopping, and just keep writing, 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 and whatever comes up, comes up. And many times you'll find that within this writing, there are clues and information and answers you were not expecting to get. And also a place of surrendering, where if there's an unsolved situation, just ask God, the universe, that intelligence that is running your life, ask for help. Say, hey, I can't do it on my own, please help. And then you hand the load to a higher power or your higher self or God to help you solve it, and things will unfold and get more clarity. You'll get more clarity around it.
Hmm.
You can be in gratitude for what's difficult, and knowing that everything's happening for you, and then this is for your highest good, even if you cannot understand why it's happening. And when you say thank you for what's good, but also thank you for this experience. I know this is for my highest good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This also opens kind of like an energetic gate to things being unfolded in the right way and the great manifestation with a great outcome to happen. You can also send love and blessings to the person that hurts you. I remember that we had a neighbor. Oh my goodness, we recorded our podcasts. It was back in Santa Monica. There was a neighbor upstairs that like blasting heavy metal music and then like pounding on the floor, which is our ceiling, while we were recording the podcast. It was very difficult and he was kind of scary. I remember laying down in bed and just sending him a lot of light and love and seeing him as a young child and kind of connecting to his soul and surrounding him with love. And the next day it stopped, and you also had some kind of guidance to do the same afterwards, where you were talking to the Kabbalah teacher and he told you to do what I did.
Yeah.
To send him light.
Yes.
Pray
for him. Yeah.
Pray for him. And eventually...
I did. And then the next day, out of the blue, I see him in the elevator.
Yes.
Because I in 6 months or a year or whatever, however long we'd been there, 2 years, I'd never seen him in the elevator once.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day, I see him in the elevator. I would have gotten out normally, but because I had prayed for him, I stayed in and invited him in.
And you actually, after you pray for somebody and you send them love, you can look them in the eye and they feel your energy field and they take off their guards. And then he told you that he was a veteran and he's got PTSD, right?
Yeah, he told me that he survived an attempted murder and has...
Okay. Not a veteran.
I don't know about that.
I don't remember. Okay,
but
sorry.
anyways, he had PTSD. That he told me that in the elevator, and that surprised me.
And that's why he put that very loud noise.
Yeah, that was a coping mechanism.
Yeah, and so eventually he stopped putting that noise. And this one day I ordered a quite heavy box with a divider, I think it was. And this guy, without me asking him, just carried it from the mail area and just put it in front of my home.
Yeah.
It was very sweet. So it's amazing how things that, if you just keep yourself in judgment and say, and you see people...
Keep yourself out of judgment. Yeah.
No, if you keep yourself in judgment and see people within their own box, like you put somebody in a box, this is the crazy person, the crazy neighbor, right. This is never going to change, and I'm just gonna like keep thinking evil thoughts about them. But people have infinite potential, and they can change, or they can somehow miraculously drop off of your life, or like things can happen, like you shift into a complete different reality. Because when you change, the world around you change. You might not change the person. This was a good story, but that person could have been a sociopath. And but if we did that, he could have just disappeared from our life, or we would happen to move, or something would shift, so we won't have to deal with this situation the moment we stop giving it a lot of energy and negative attention.
Yeah, because we're infinite potential. Everyone is. And when you have a predisposition or a prejudice towards somebody, you collapse that field of possibility into the version that you most expect.
Correct.
If you expect them to be,
they will be. You're going to create them into your reality exactly in that way.
Yeah. It's
difficult to get out of that trap, though. Yeah. Especially if someone close to you. It's hard. You got to keep remind yourself, listen to this podcast. or read something or write something on your mirror to remind yourself that you can change your reality, and everybody that play a part in this reality, you might not change them, but you change your relationship with them and your feelings toward them.
Yeah. So what would be an example of something you've written on your mirror?
Oh my goodness, I haven't written on my mirror a long time ago. I used to write affirmation like, I love myself, I'm successful, I'm getting better and better. And that was cute, it helped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's one modality. It's a very simple one, but there are more in-depth ways to reprogram your consciousness too, like hypnotherapy.
Absolutely.
So tell us more about some hypnotherapy type interventions or modalities.
One intervention I did for my friend, she's mega successful. She works with big people like Deepak Chopra and lots of leaders and luminaries. But she had social anxiety. She would like really literally have social anxiety. And I gave her a hypnotherapy session, and she cured her social anxiety, which was amazing. Because we went into her subconscious mind. I regressed her into times in her life where a belief was formed, and then we reframed that belief with a stronger, more powerful one. And she just dropped her social anxiety. But there was a side effect to that.
Oh yeah, what was that?
She cured her insomnia.
Oh wow.
I didn't know she had an insomnia, but I just randomly I called her a few months later, and she said, "Oh, by the way, my fiance and I we listen to your recording every night before we go to sleep." I'm like, "Oh, really? Wow, amazing, me." And she's like, "Yeah, and I didn't tell you, but I used to have insomnia, and it's gone."
It was amazing.
I know, it's amazing. I
So
got goosebumps.
the recording that you gave her was from the hypnotherapy session when you were.
Yeah, the way I do hypnotherapy session, and then I give my clients a recording that they can listen to for a minimum of 21 days to anchor the change. Because the moment you have neural connections, it's like the neurons connect, but you gotta keep strengthening it and strengthening it until they like it becomes like a firm new belief.
So
So
you've planted seedlings and you need to water them and
exactly
fertilize them.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes.
And so if someone is, let's say, facing a fear, a phobia, they're maybe uncomfortable with flying, they're uncomfortable with, I don't know, being in the water, like on the beach, in the ocean. This is a way they can release that.
Yeah.
They can cure that. And by the way, I love that you said she cured her social anxiety. I don't know if you caught that, but you said she cured it. You didn't say I cured it.
Yeah. Well,
Because you let them be the captain of their own ship, and then you
absolutely.
don't
I'm
take
not.
credit for it.
Yeah. It will be silly for me to think that I'm creating the change. Every time I have a session, it's just me opening up to source energy to come through me. Yes, there is the format of what I do and the methods and the systems, but nothing would work unless I am a channel for this like divine energy to come and help me um, be the container for them to heal. But they're healing themselves. Like like everybody that comes and want to have an intervention, I always ask them, how much do you want it from 1 to 10? If they're not an 8, 9, or 10, I'm not working with them. Because you have to have the strong desire and trust that you can change. I mean, I'm just a secondary character in their life in that moment to give them that like redirect that is boosted by infinite intelligence. But it's not my doing, it's them and God.
Yeah. And it's really important what kind of healer, regardless what kind of healer or coach or transformation expert or practitioner of any sort you are, or I'm talking to the listener as well. It's important to transfer the credit that this is God working through us, not us.
Yeah, I'm just a drop in the bucket of infinite intelligence, and what I know is a drop within that drop, And by connecting to this vast ocean of infinite intelligence, I can bring about change, and I can be that like what
Facilitator?
not facilitator. What moves energy? What moves electricity? The cord.
Yeah, the power line. Yeah.
I'm the power line. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just the power line. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not the electricity. Electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not the electricity, and I'm not the light bulb. I'm the power cord. The power
Line.
Power line.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a cool metaphor. Just
Yeah.
thought about it.
I like it. So with the new year coming very quickly, not the Jewish New Year. We had that several months ago already.
Yeah, the
But
New Year. Yes.
yeah, January 1st. So a lot of people do planning for a lot of change, a lot of improvements, a lot of resolutions to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 weeks into it, then they drop them or
Right.
let them fall to the wayside.
Right.
So how do you make changes that stick?
Do a hypnotherapy session with me.
Hmm.
No. Well, that's
No,
it.
that would
But
be good. Yeah,
that would be good. But what you can do is first understand why, your biggest why. Why do you have this desire? And write down like a whole list of why you want it. And then you can write down a whole list of how you're going to feel or what's going to happen if you're not going to have it.
Hmm.
And that will polarize that sensation, and it will make it more extreme in your eyes. So you already have more drive to do it. And then the main work is not about the doing. The main work is about the being. What can you do to be more full of juice and liveliness and sexiness and joy and fun? That's the real work. And from that, when you're in this higher frequency and you go, even if you feel low, then you just go up to, it's better to be bored but not depressed. It's better to be interested but not bored. It's better to be joyful more than interested. So you just go up that scale of emotion. And just if you try to feel a little better every day, and then at the end of a month or a year, you're going to be in such a different place. And from that place of self-love and joy, it's going to move you forward. You're going to create the inertia to keep moving forward. And then you have to keep promises to yourself. It goes back to a choice. Do you keep promises that you make to yourself? You keep promises to other people. Why not to yourself? Keep your promise.
Hmm. And one thing we learned from Kabbalah classes was that there's something that precedes the desire, and that is the manifestation, which is really profound because people think that the manifestation, the result, comes after you have the desire for the thing. But the desire wouldn't exist in you if you hadn't already received the fulfillment of that desire.
How so?
So in the upper worlds and the heavens and the unseen world, you've already received the thing. Whatever it is, if you wanted to learn to play a musical instrument, you have a desire for that. Already you have achieved it. You have fulfilled that desire, because if you hadn't fulfilled that desire in the unseen world, you wouldn't have the desire for it in the first place.
Okay. Beautiful.
So I love that, and it helps me to feel a sense of awe and surrender and relaxation about some huge goal or dream or desire that I might have. Like, oh, well, it's already happened. It's already occurred. It's just a question of whether it's manifesting itself into this timeline, into this reality or not. It's not a foregone conclusion that it will manifest here, but it's already manifested up in the heavens. Now I just need to maintain my level of faith.
Yes.
Want to share anything further about desire and manifestation or desire and fulfillment?
Yeah, I know some people talk down on vision boards. No, I don't disagree with them because I feel like vision boards what helps you see a clear picture in your mind. You can go to orionsmethod.com and I have an article there about vision boards and a TV appearance I did about vision boards where you can see a pretend vision board that I made. It's really pretty. And it's going to be linked in the show notes. It's very simple. You just put pictures of the thing that you desire on a vision board and just have really a lot of excitement and happiness when you do it. Look at it every once in a while or just keep it in your drawer and you'll see that a lot of things have been manifested. It just really helps you see a very clear picture in your mind.
Yeah. And the higher your vibration, the better you will manifest whatever you're creating in that vision board. So, from my understanding, if you are in a depressed, low vibration state and you're trying to do a vision board from that low vibration, you're going to have a hard time. Whereas if you work on developing that sense of awe and connection with the creator, do some meditation and some maybe guided visualization or something before you do the vision board exercise.
Right. And to increase your frequency, sometimes what I do, I just go on YouTube and I find like high frequency music just to tune my mind into a higher frequency. Today, the music that is being broadcast um, is of low frequency. I don't know why they changed the frequency of the music. It's not as elevated as it used to be. It's not as helpful as it used to be. So you can literally put like frequency music and just listen to it, or there are some just frequencies that you can go to sleep with. And that's, yeah, you cannot manifest anything from a low frequency. That is amazing. You gotta be in your beingness first and elevate yourself.
Yeah. So
And you
what
can
sort of
do it.
frequencies do you find on YouTube? Like what number do you look for?
I don't know. I'm just saying high frequency music and I go with my intuition as to what sounds good and what
Okay.
might resonate.
Okay. But you might find a couple examples and add them in the show notes?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Because I don't know. For me, I don't remember if it's 432 or 440 or
There's so many.
450 or whatever.
There's so many and
Hertz.
they're all for different things.
Yeah. Okay. And also, you can raise your vibration with using a quantum block from Leela Quantum Tech. So we have one just 10 meters away,
right?
That helps kind of flood the whole this whole place with quantum energy and healing.
Yeah, and frequency and quantum block, it's great. It supports your energy field, supports your environment, but your environment does not determine whether or not you're going to be successful in your manifestation. It's always a choice. It's about you putting that mental picture in your mind and trusting it, that it's manifesting, and trusting God, that God is going to flow through you, and not taking no for an answer. Even if somebody's doubting that, don't put doubt or into that picture. Because when you bring doubts, which is normal, and you will, but make sure that the trust is more than the doubt, because that's what will bring the manifestation to happen. You can have a little note in your pocket, read it a few times a day, read affirmations morning and night. Look, put your vision board near your mirror, just whatever helps you focus on that outcome.
Yeah. Another thing too is to feel abundant. It's important to let the energy flow through you of prosperity and not try to hold on to it tightly like it's a crimped up garden hose, but let the energy flow. So that means giving charity, or in Hebrew, tzedakah.
Again,
and the more that you...
It's good in the new year to give charity.
Yeah.
It's tax deductible. But it's also really good for the flow. It's like
so part of the
you give and you get. You be in the flow. If you just hold on to your money, like even when you don't have money, I always give, even when I didn't, like times in my life where I was like so broke, I always gave money to charity, even if it's $1 for a homeless person. Always give money. Always give. There's always somebody else who's struggling more than you. Open your heart, open your hand, give. When you give, believe you me, you will receive. You will receive so much, and it might not be the right format, but you might receive an incredible relationship, and you might receive incredible abundance, or any, like, you'll receive blessings when you give. When you let go, you will definitely receive.
Yeah. And the formula in Judaism is 10%.
Yes.
So how do you like to perform or give that charity? Do you like to do it where you save it till the end of the year and do it all at once for the whole year? Or do you like to look forward to what you believe you can make with, you know, with God's assistance? Then you take 10% of that, and so you can pledge that going forward.
No, I don't pledge that forward. I give from what I make. It's 10% from what I make. Ideally every month, and you break it throughout the years, but we we wanted to do that, but no, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Now we've got to do it a lot at once at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But
But
yes,
for me, it's not from what I think I'm going to get. It's exactly, and also in Judaism, it's from from what you make. And I think you're not allowed to give more than 20%. Like, that's a sin. Like, this is, you give 10%, or I think 20%, but no more than that. Most people give 10%.
yeah. So there's an inspiring video from Beryl Solomon, who explains that God invites us to test Him in the Bible, to uh, donate to pledge a donation of a large amount of money and see that God will provide for that.
I believe it can happen. I believe it's true. I've done it in different forms in my life, and it takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
And if somebody's struggling with 10%, give 2%, give 1%, give something. Just be in the giving mode.
Yeah. But if you want, you can add that Beryl Solomon video to the show notes. I found that really inspiring. It's God, in God We Test is the name of it. So if our listener or viewer wants to take some simple positive steps based on maybe what we discussed already, or maybe something new, what would be some 3 tips at the end here of the episode for them to have a stellar life, to make a big impact, to live their best life?
Yes. So from what we talked today, it's about connect to your body and your intuition. And there are many ways, and there are many episodes just on this podcast that talk about intuition and how to connect. There are also episodes about how to connect to your body. The knowledge is there. It's for you to seek. So connect to your body and to your intuition.
Do you have a particular episode that pops in your mind?
There's so many. We'll put something in the show notes. We'll find some for you. Number 2 is beingness. The being is more important than doing. The first step is being, like increasing your frequency and becoming the person you want to be, and seeing yourself as the person that you want to be. From that place, manifestation is much easier guided and is being attracted to you instead of you chasing and working really, really hard. Yes, you need to work in the physical realm for what you want, and your beingness is more important. Like, the way you are will bring about what you focus on will manifest. And number 3 is have fun. And we talk about heavy stuff, and I feel like I'm so serious talking about all this manifestation, and this, like, sounds really really heavy. But honestly, I think the most important thing is to have fun and enjoy your life. Enjoy every moment. Be grateful for what you have. Smile, laugh, dance, do silly things, watch stupid movies. Enjoy your life, because this is the only life you got. So might as well have some fun.
Good stuff.
Yes, and Happy New Year for you
So how does our
and to
listener
us.
continue to learn from you, work with you, all that, where do you want to send them to?
Orion at orionsmethod.com, and Orion.Talmay, Talmay, on social media. But yeah, and if I invite you to connect with me, write, review, subscribe. That will help me tremendously, help share the knowledge. I love you very much, and thank you for listening.